On WMUN 92.5 FM, 1340 AM, and the Gainbridge Ball State Cardinals Sports Network, welcome to This Week in Ball State Sports, highlighting the Cardinal teams, administration, alumni, and community. Now here's the voice of the Cardinals, your host, Mick Tidrow.
Back for another Thursday morning here on This Week in Ball State Sports, and the final show of February. Yeah, we're already almost in March. That happened fast here in 2026. Thanks for joining the program. You can check out every single replay by searching This Week in Ball State Sports wherever you get your podcasts. And, of course, we're live every Thursday morning, 9 to 9:30 right here on WMUN. Thank you, Steve Lindell, for producing here this week. We have a fun show lined up for you this week. Cardinals fans, leading things off, Lindsey DeRoeck of Ball State Softball. Jeff Mitchell, Director of Athletics, joins us in a little bit as well to talk about all the happenings here across Ball State. Lindsey's up first. Softball team in action this weekend. They're about to hit the road. Lindsey, appreciate you joining us here live.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
What's it been like for you in your first year at Ball State so far?
It's been a blessing. This coaching staff is incredible. These teammates are incredible. It's just so fun to go to practice every day. And now we get to compete every weekend. I'm having a blast.
Was it weird to have an off weekend this past weekend after going so crazy the last 2 weeks?
It definitely was a little bit weird, but I think in the long run for us, it'll be a good move. Just keeping everybody fresh, especially our pitchers.
A couple weeks into the season now, how would you describe where this team is at so far?
I think we're in a great spot. I'm really proud of how my teammates and I are playing this week, or these past 2 weeks. It's exciting to just see everything come together. We've been working hard since August, so I think we're in a great spot right now, and we're a dangerous team to play.
You mentioned the work since August. What has, from August to now, been like for this group to get ready?
I think it's just kind of, one, getting to know each other. I think each year you kind of get a new team with newcomers, so learning about each other on and off the field, and then really diving into what are our strengths, what are our weaknesses, and how we can just maximize the talent that we have. I think we have a lot of really good pieces to come together and make a really great run this year.
You mentioned strengths. What do you feel like the strengths of this group are?
Oh, there's so many to count. I think offensively, we have hitters 1 through 9, even past 9, that can do damage in the lineup. Our pitching staff is really deep. We've got 6 incredible pitchers that can all shut the door, I think. And then we have playmakers on defense. We're going to make some big plays this year, and I'm excited.
You mentioned the pitching a couple of times. With this group specifically, how have you seen them grow from that standpoint?
We do a lot of live at-bats, in practice and stuff, so it's been really cool to just see, how they've grown mentally. As a hitter myself, hitting against them in practice, it's been tough. I honestly don't love hitting against them because they're great pitchers. They've got some really good spin. They know how to just control the mound. They have great presence, and it's just been great to watch them compete with themselves and now competing against some of the other competition.
So it sounds like everybody's getting better because of the pitchers.
Absolutely, absolutely. We push each other every day in practice.
A conversation here live with Lindsey DeRoeck from Ball State Softball. The Cardinals hit the road here in a couple of hours for their third weekend of the season. Lindsey, you joined Ball State after spending 3 years at Queens. This year, you've already talked about a little bit of the strengths of this team and how the growth has been on display. For your first 3 years to now, how do you feel like those 3 years helped you set up and become a leader for a team that you're joining for the first year?
Yeah, I think my 3 years have been ups and downs, lots of roller coasters. I think I failed a lot in my career, and that's just allowed me to have a mindset of, I guess, just gratitude and being able to share that with some of my teammates here, share my experiences over the past years. And it's just really allowed me to, like you said, take a role of leadership and just kind of share the things that I've been through, share the ups, share the downs, and just enjoy the process.
Use the word growth. How would you say that you've grown the most as a person in your collegiate career?
Yeah, I think as a person, I've really just kind of found some of my values and how I can show those on the field. So the things that I care about and how I just really take in all the detail. I'm a very detail-oriented person. And I think that true growth is found kind of in the details, and just focusing on those things.
And how about as a student athlete? How have you grown the most since you started college softball?
Yeah, I think student athlete life is hard. Like you said, we've been on the road the past 2 weeks, and that's not slowing down anytime soon.
No.
So, I've learned a lot about myself, like time management, how I work as a student, the things that I need from the people around me. I've learned that I'm not afraid to ask for those things. Just a lot of communication, a lot of organization, and a lot of time management.
Ball State softball's Lindsey DeRoeck joining us here live on This Week in Ball State Sports. Lindsey, in your bio on the Ball State page, it says that you chose Ball State because it would give you the opportunity to make the most out of yourself during your final year of play. How would you say that that's transpired so far?
Yeah, I think this team and this coaching staff has helped me get the most out of what I knew I was capable of. So it's been really great to just see kind of those outcomes that I always knew that I could get to. This team has just really helped bring those out of me, and it's been a joy just to play next to these wonderful teammates.
You've mentioned the coaching staff a couple of times. What is that group like to work with?
They're great. They're tough, but they're loving, and they've given me incredible feedback. They've really changed some things in my game that have elevated it for me, and it's allowed me to compete at such a higher level, a level that I knew I was capable of, but they brought me there.
What little changes, like you mentioned, what little changes have helped?
Yeah, I've worked with Coach Burns on my swing offensively, and we've shifted some of my mindsets about who I am in the box, and then some physical changes to my swing that have just allowed things to really take off this year so far.
No, that's awesome. Between your sophomore and junior years, a huge leap for you with hitting over 300 last year, 53 hits. What would you say was the main focus for you between those 2 years to get you where you wanted to be and ultimately to have the season you're having this year?
Yeah, I think it really just came down to mindset. I think physically I've always been capable, but just having the mindset of resilience. Softball is a sport of failure, and I think me sophomore year wasn't ready to deal with that. And over the summer between sophomore and junior year, I really had to kind of take I just had to take a look at myself and be like, it's going to happen, you're going to fail, but it's more about how you get back up. So that was kind of the mindset shift for me, and it really just changed the game for me junior year.
When you talk about mindset, is that something that you continuously work on every day now?
Oh, absolutely. I think that's also a huge part of our team here at Ball State. Coach P does a really good job about helping us develop our minds, because she knows that softball is a mental game. Everyone says it, 90% mental. So we've put in a lot of work on the mental side here at Ball State this year, for sure.
You mentioned Coach Pena in the mental side of the game. How would you say that she's helped most with that for you?
Yeah, I think she's not afraid to have conversations with me, and I love that. I'm not afraid to kind of open up with her about where I'm at mentally, and we just have really good communication, and she gives me great feedback, and we're able to work together to help get me to where I need to be, and I know that she does the same for all my teammates.
Ball State softball's Lindsey DeRoeck joining us here live on This Week in Ball State Sports before the Cardinals hit the road again for the third weekend of the season. Yes, they'll eventually be home. Ball State softball will play home games in March. Finally, we'll get to some home games coming up in a little bit. But, Lindsey, what are you doing away from the game of softball? When you're not batting, you're not at practice, you're not in a game, what's life like for you?
Yeah, I have picked up some hobbies over the years. I really do love to cook, so my roommates know that. And I've picked up running. I love running. I think that's also helped me develop some of the mental side. Those are just some of the things that I find myself doing on my off day.
And how would you describe being back in the Midwest after spending some time on the East Coast?
Oh, I love it. The weather's a little bit chillier here for sure, but I've always been a Midwest kid at heart. The people in the Midwest, the smaller towns, I love it. It's been great.
How far is your hometown from Muncie, Bloomington?
3.5 hours.
Okay, so not bad. So truly Midwest at heart.
Absolutely, yes.
Well, Lindsey, we really appreciate you joining us here on This Week in Ball State Sports. We can't wait to see what you and the Cardinals do the rest of the season. We appreciate your time and good luck. Safe travels.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Of course, that's Lindsey DeRoeck joining us from Ball State Softball here on This Week in Ball State Sports. Just exciting to have softball back in action. And if you check out ballstatesports.com, you'll be able to see what the schedule is. Yes, of course, they'll get to some home games coming up. It feels like it always takes forever for baseball, softball to play home games, but that's coming. March 13th is the first home game for Ball State softball, 3 o'clock, and then a doubleheader March 14th, 1 and 3 o'clock, all three of those games against the Akron Zips. And then they'll also host Purdue on March 17th, St. Patrick's Day. Shout out. That's my mom's birthday. So that's March 17th, 4 o'clock. You can see Ball State softball in action. Just go ahead, check out ballstatesports.com. We'll go ahead and take our first break, come back, and Director of Athletics Jeff Mitchell joins the program. We'll talk about a lot because there's been a lot happening here the month of February across Ball State Athletics. That's next on the show.
Behind every strong hip and knee. Behind every strong shoulder.
Good catch.
Behind every strong team is our highly skilled team of experts in orthopedics. IU Health is the official healthcare and sports medicine provider of Ball State Athletics, and we're here to keep you moving. From acute injuries to chronic pain and conditions, go where the athletes go. Walk-in appointments for new injuries are available Monday through Friday from 7:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. And you can always schedule a same-day or next-day appointment and wait from the comfort of your home. Visit iuhealth.org/MuncieOrtho to learn more.
At Kroger, you never compromise. You get high quality and low prices. Like you never compromise your meal with our spring salad mix, guaranteed fresh. And you never compromise your budget with lower prices on over 1,000 items. And you never compromise your appetite with our golden brown bread that's baked fresh in store. And you never compromise your wallet with our lower prices. Hand it to Kroger shoppers. You never compromise. Kroger. Fresh for everyone.
This Week in Ball State Sports continues here on WMUN. Make sure to check out all of our replays. Search This Week in Ball State Sports wherever you get your podcasts. I don't know where Steve Lindell gets his podcasts, but wherever he says everywhere, specifically on WMUN's website. That's just what he's saying. That's what Steve is saying. Thank you to Lindsey for joining us from Ball State Softball a couple of moments ago. And next up, Director of Athletics Jeff Mitchell with us live on the program. Jeff, what's going on in your world? It's the end of February, and there's a lot going on in your world, I'm sure.
Yeah, good morning, Mick. Thank you. And I must comment, I think Steve meant to tell you that his favorite podcast is This Week in Ball State Sports.
He's saying right here is the best one, so I just see him pointing. So wherever he gets his podcast, we know he's tuned in.
That's right.
Jeff, with the end of February here and March around the corner, I think there's 14 of the 19 sports in action at this current moment throughout some sort of, I don't know. That's just what I was trying to calculate. 14 of 19? How insane is that?
Yeah. When you talk about crossover season, this is the time when we've got just about everything going. And really, those 5 sports that aren't in the midst of their regular competition seasons are training. So, I mean, we are all firing on all cylinders this time of the year. But it's really busy. And, our staff, this is a great opportunity for me to give them the kudos that they deserve because there's just so much overlap that's happening as we conclude our winter sports, begin the spring sports, and there's a lot of work on their plate. And so I'm really grateful for our staff, and that includes our sports medicine professionals and our strength and conditioning professionals and our equipment staff, media relations, corporate sponsorships, administration, and how can I forget our broadcast crew, Mick Tidrow. There's just so much overlap, and it takes a lot of organization, takes a lot of time, and so really grateful for the people that pour into Ball State Athletics and pour into our student athletes to give them the type of experience that they deserve, and it helps us win, and we're doing a lot of winning right now. And so I'm very proud of our teams, proud of our coaches, and excited about the rest of the spring.
Yeah, if you just go to ballstatesports.com and look at the homepage, you see win all across the board. You also see gold medals in swim and dive. I want to start there today, Jeff, just because this program went on a tear yesterday. 3 medals. Zach Shady won gold in the 1-meter board to start things off at the 2026 Missouri Valley Conference Swim and Dive Championships. they jumped off the page on day one.
They really did. And, Coach Agnew does such a phenomenal job with both our men's and women's swimming and dive teams. And both of them have their championships this weekend, which is a little bit interesting because we're across two different conferences there with the men and then with the women.
So does Jay have to split himself into two people?
Well, he is. And so he was with the men yesterday, and I think he's going to travel and be with the women for the remainder of the weekend. And so that staff is split right now in terms of coaching those two programs. So it's not an ideal situation for just the way those championships landed on the same.
I think we might have lost Jeff there for a moment. We'll see if we can reconnect with Jeff.
To Jay Agnew for what he's trying to manage this weekend. And yes, both teams competing really well, and look forward to continued success out of those programs.
So that's one of the fun wins. Bronze, gold, silver, all three were captured for men's swim and dive on day one of the championships. You can check out ballstatesports.com, look at the schedule of how both the men's and the women's team will perform here in the next couple of days. Women's basketball got back in the win column, Jeff. They were coming off a loss against Miami, but every time that they have lost to Miami, they come back and dominate, and they took care of Akron 88-55 last night.
Yeah, a very dominant performance last night. It was good to see, what I call a punchback win after you endure a tough loss. We have a really good women's basketball team, and so they were on full display last night, just the way they moved the basketball. Defensively, they're as tenacious in these last couple of weeks of the season as they were to begin the season, and it converts to offense. And again, it was a great crowd last night, tremendous atmosphere. The team played really just a great game from start to finish. And they know that they're preparing now to go into the conference tournament, and they've got some revenge on their minds too, just looking for another shot, hopefully against Miami. And I think there are a lot of people that want to see that matchup again in Cleveland. And but at the same time, I know that Coach Salih and that team are taking it in coach speak words one game at a time, because there's a lot to continue to play for, still a chance at securing at least a share of a regular season championship, but certainly want to achieve the highest seed we can possibly get going into that tournament.
And the women's basketball landscape this year in the Mid-American Conference is very strong. You have Ball State and Miami that have been at the top for the majority of the season, but then Central Michigan, UMass, Ohio have all been playing very, very strong basketball. That is going to be one excellent conference tournament this year.
Yeah, it certainly will be. And I think as a league, we're the 10th best league in the country in women's basketball, and that's not to be understated in terms of what that means for our league. So really excited about that outcome as we go into the last couple of weeks of the season and looking at tournament time. But, yeah, we've got a lot of good basketball teams playing their best at the right time of the year, and Ball State is chief among them.
You look at it, Ball State's 14-2, a half a game back from Miami. UMass is 12-3. Central Michigan's 11-5. There's already 3 20-win programs in the MAC in women's basketball this year. Pretty incredible what they have all done this season. And then Ohio's right there at 9-6 in the league. Toledo's 8-7. They're always dangerous. So can't wait to see what the women's basketball conference tournament brings for the Cardinals. On the men's basketball side, Jeff, it was a wild Tuesday night. 18-point comeback win for Michael Lewis in that group. That was just one to remember against the Minutemen.
Well, I'm really happy for our players because they didn't give up. They kept chipping away. And, we did not play a particularly good first half of basketball. And UMass returned the favor, not playing particularly well in the second half, but we were steady in the second half and just chipped away, got to the free throw line, made some key shots at the right moments, played some good defense, and ended up putting ourselves in a position to win. And, I credit our team for winning that ball game, because there have been times this season where we haven't been able to close out a game, or we haven't been able to make a second half push. And we did that on Tuesday night. The crowd was kind of flat at the beginning of the game, and then they started to pick it up and helped us win the ball game there in the last few minutes of regulation and into overtime. Winning is fun, and certainly our guys were having a good time as we claimed victory on Tuesday night. So very happy for that team.
Davion Hill, a season and career best 26 points to lead Ball State. He was also 11 of 11 at the free throw line. Very clutch performance there from Davion Hill to help the Cardinals win that one over UMass. Ball State Director of Athletics Jeff Mitchell joining us here on This Week in Ball State Sports. Jeff, the track and field indoor season wraps up this week. The MAC championships up in Mount Pleasant are about to be underway.
Yes, and I texted Coach Wheatley this morning 2 words of encouragement. Can you imagine what those 2 words were, Mick?
Go win?
Run fast.
Run fast. Those are good words to use.
That's right. I was talking with Coach Wheatley late last week, and we were just talking about the progress of the team. And he runs an interesting program because you've got the fall, you've got cross country, and your track and field teams are training to get ready for indoor season. And then as indoor season comes to an end, you've got your mind on the outdoor season. But you come to these championships indoor-wise, and you just look at the results over the last few weekends as we're preparing for these championships, and you keep seeing name after name after name setting a new personal record or a school record or a conference record. I said, man, you are continuing to develop these talented athletes, and they're just showing up left and right as difference makers. And he was very quick to credit the work ethic of his team, and very quick to talk about the fact that they're talented and that they're working hard, that they are using this preparation time to really improve and to be at their best going into these championships. So excited about what we might see. I think we're continuing to grow and develop as a program there. Certainly losing a superstar like Janelle Rogers after her heroics over the last several years will leave a little bit of a hole in what we're able to accomplish. But as we continue to develop some of these younger athletes, I'm excited about their growth and development as a program, and they'll quickly switch after these championships for indoor into the outdoor season and look for continued development there.
Well, how about Ball State track and field being ranked 10th in the country in the high jump? That is an incredible mark for this program here as the indoor season concludes this weekend. All right, we'll step aside, come back. Jeff will join us for the remainder of the show on This Week in Ball State Sports.
At Kroger, you never compromise. You get high quality and low prices. Like you never compromise your meal with our spring salad mix, guaranteed fresh. And you never compromise your budget with lower prices on over 1,000 items. And you never compromise your appetite with our golden brown bread that's baked fresh in store. And you never compromise your wallet with our lower prices. Hand it to Kroger shoppers. You never compromise. Kroger. Fresh for everyone.
Behind every strong hip and knee. Behind every strong shoulder.
Good catch.
Behind every strong team is our highly skilled team of experts in orthopedics. IU Health is the official healthcare and sports medicine provider of Ball State Athletics, and we're here to keep you moving. From acute injuries to chronic pain and conditions, go where the athletes go. Walk-in appointments for new injuries are available Monday through Friday from 7:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. And you can always schedule a same-day or next-day appointment and wait from the comfort of your home. Visit iuhealth.org/MuncieOrtho to learn more.
Final segment of This Week in Ball State Sports here on Thursday, not Friday. Getting ahead of myself. One day ahead of myself here. Thursday morning, February 26th. The final show of February before we turn the calendar to March. Director of Athletics Jeff Mitchell rejoins us here. Jeff, you didn't want to take the trip to Hawaii with the baseball program. You decided to stay in the cold weather. You didn't want to go to Hawaii?
I would have really enjoyed going to Hawaii with the baseball team. It might as well be another world away, though. I mean, it's a 6-hour time difference. Those guys are sleeping right now, Mick, getting ready to play a game that won't happen until 11:30 Eastern time tonight.
Have to
that's when
love the
first
time
pitch
changes,
is.
huh? Or not the time change, but the time difference.
So I figured with as much that's happening in the Midwest and in and around Muncie, Indiana, that it was best for me to stay at home.
Jeff, last one for you. Ball State Athletics participated in Walk a Mile on Saturday. Over 100 student-athlete and coaches, administrators, personnel were all involved. How proud of you are this group for participating and being a part of the community?
Well, I think we're continuing to demonstrate our intent to be in the community as much as possible. You know, we like to talk about ourselves as being Muncie's team, and there's no better way for us to demonstrate that than to partner with the Muncie Mission and the great work that organization does to serve our community, particularly those that are the most vulnerable in our community, and particularly during the winter season when we have individuals, right here in Muncie that face food insecurity and are facing problems when it comes to homelessness. And it's really important that we show up and just to demonstrate that we care and help raise a little money and certainly help raise awareness for the members of our community that need help the most. It also is a testament, Mick, to our intent to promote Muncie as a great place to live, great place to work, great place to play. And it was part of being recognized this past year with winning the Cartwright Award because not only were we competitively excellent and academically excellent, but we engaged in a high level of civic engagement that helped us win that award to be the most comprehensive and the best athletics department in the Mid-American Conference. And so the show or the turnout on this past Saturday for the Walk a Mile event just underscored our commitment to serving Muncie and being a part of our community that supports us so much. So yes, I'm very proud of our student athletes. We had over 100 that showed up. Of course, we've got so many in competition. We had several of our coaches across multiple sports, several administrators, and I did not see Steve Lindell, but I understand that he was there supporting as well.
He's pointing at himself and saying, I was there. So we want to set the record straight. Steve was at Walk a Mile on Saturday, February 21st. Jeff, appreciate your time as always. Thanks for joining the show. We'll talk next week.
Thank you, Mick. Thank you, Steve. Go Cards.
That's Director of Athletics Jeff Mitchell joining us here on This Week in Ball State Sports. Lots of items this weekend for the athletics department. Men's volleyball is back in action tonight and tomorrow against Tusculum and Purdue Fort Wayne, respectively. Women's tennis picked up a pair of awards, singles and doubles, athletes of the week. Gymnastics, Zoe Middleton, athlete of the week as well across the Mid-American Conference. A lot of good stuff happening across Ball State Sports. You can check out ballstatesports.com for the full list of award winners, news, all of it. That's ballstatesports.com. And there's still time to enjoy Ball State basketball. Go to 888-BSU-TICKET or ballstatesports.com to get your tickets. Men's volleyball tickets on sale as well for the remainder of the year. Baseball, softball games, folks, free to attend here in Muncie. So when that time comes, next weekend, baseball's at home after the big trip to Hawaii. And then a little bit after that, on March 13th, the softball team is at home coming up soon. So make sure to check out your tickets and get your fix of spring sports across Ball State athletics. All right, that does it here on February 26th on This Week in Ball State Sports. Thank you to Lindsey and Jeff for joining us on the show and for Steve Lindell producing this morning. I'm Mick Tidrow saying so long on This Week in Ball State Sports. Go search us wherever you get your podcasts.
Thanks for listening to This Week in Ball State Sports. The preceding has been a Gamebridge Ball State Cardinals Sports Network presentation on 92.5 FM, 1340 AM, WMUN.